we are going to convert this into vertex form. That's the goal of this. Our standard is f of x equals x squared plus 16x plus 63. So we're going to do this like we have been. Just going to tweak it a little bit because I noticed a lot of people were not converting back properly. So we'll just keep f of x in it this time, just to kind of see how that works for us. Just because I think it may work better for us to see it. First thing we always do is subtract the 63 over, just to kind of keep ourselves organized, because I noticed that if we don't keep it consistent, we're going to forget to do the correct sign. So let's just keep it this way. We're still going to flip it around, just so we can keep it. We never touch the coefficients. We don't want to touch those. So we have x squared plus 16x equals, and we'll just say negative 63 plus f of x. Okay? Just kind of pretend it's there, just as a reminder to subtract our constant over at the end, okay? That's the easiest way to put it. So right here, there's no leading coefficient, so we can start completing the square. So we get x squared plus 16x plus 16 divided by 2 squared. What you do to one side, you do to the other, so that's equal to 16 divided by 2 squared plus negative 63 plus f of x. Then from here, we're going to look at this group, which is 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So what multiplies to 64 but adds to 16? Well, that's our perfect square trinomial. So we do x plus 8 squared. And we choose our plus sign. We choose our sign, if you're confused about that, from here, equals 64, we can just do it here, 64 minus 63, which is 1, plus f of x. Well, it's still not in vertex form. So for us to get this into vertex form, we'll subtract the 1 and then just flip it back. So we subtract the 1, and we could just have x plus 8 squared minus 1 equals f of x. And if you're like me, I like to then put it on the left. Alright, and so we're looking for our vertex. So since this is a normal parabola going up with a minimum or a maximum going up or down, it's not a sideways parabola, our vertex would be negative 8, comma, negative 1. We always do the opposite sign to make the middle 0, so that's how we get it. That's our vertex, is at negative 8, negative 1. And our axis of symmetry is equal to, axis of symmetry is equal to, I'm so sorry, axis of symmetry is equal to our h value. So it's x equals, oops, let's just say x is equal to negative 8. All right, and that's our axis of symmetry. Then they want us to put this vertex form into our roots. So to find the roots, let's see. So identify the roots. So it looks like this. We can just solve it out, like so, and kind of go from there, right? So we get right here. We can just start with this part. What highlighter would work? Which yellow? We can kind of use this to solve it, and then use the roots. Ignore the f of x since we're solving for it, because that's the reason why I kind of do the shortcut the way I do it. So for the roots, it wants the root form would be x plus 8 squared. This would be the first answer, by the way. This would be the first answer. Now we're trying to find the root form, and I'll show you how that works. X plus 8 squared equals 1. First thing we see, we square root it. We get x plus 8 equals plus or minus 1. Move it up a little bit. We get x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus 1. So right here, square root of 1 is plus or minus 1, so we're going to get a positive answer and then a negative answer. Let's do the positive first. X equals, so that means we focus on this first. x is equal to negative 8 plus 1 equals, x equals negative 7. That's our first root. Let's do it again, negative. So we're doing the bottom. X is equal to negative 8 minus 1. We get x equals negative 9. So we want to put this into root, the vertex form, but an easy way to identify the roots, kind of like what we were doing before with factoring, it'd be in this form. F of x is equal to, and we're just going to use the opposite sign. So if that's a negative, it's going to become x plus 7, and then again, x minus 9. Because if we were to solve it, we would get negative 7 and 9 to use the product property. All right, and that's what number 22 is asking for.